that you heard that was mentioned last weekend. It is a call for them to change their ways in order for them to pray to God for forgiveness, to become among those that was proclaimed to be able to live forever. As you heard in the prayers that was said here about what the Lord will do to the wicked and evil people, about those leaders and those in the positions of power and authority. Because you will see that last weekend, and as we were in prayers, and you hear, and you do not need to just hear the word that we were saying. For you yourself saw the power of the Almighty God as the storm landed in Libya. And you can see the destruction that took place because you knew the Lord was saying, when he brings flood to flood the land, who can stand in his way? Who can stand before the storm? When the ground opened up, which power in the world can come and close his mouth? You saw what has happened in Morocco. As the Lord was warning the African leaders in their wickedness and in their evil, the agents of Satan, those that themselves have taken bribe and so corrupted the agents of foreign governments. The African elites, the Nigerian elites, in all their conduct and behavior for so long, the Lord has been warning. Because there is nobody that can say that God is not merciful. And where is God? Begin to call God. You hear, he will not hear you. He will not hear their prayers. For everything that you see that is happening has already been prophesied. It's not something new. For those of you, the members of the soldiers, for every word that the Lord has prophesied, you have seen how they are coming. Happy see God showing his power unto man and unto mankind. That same last weekend, you hear the Lord speaking to the African elites. They were campaigning for one Africa, one African leader. It is great for them to be able to unite together, to become one in working together to the conformity of the will of the Almighty God. But not to be like those that are in the World Forum and in the world government that is an instrumentality of wickedness and evil against the indigenous people. It is a waste of time. For the Lord have shown you at the same time as he landed and showed his power in Libya last weekend. You were asking about trying to organize thousands of nations together to be ruled by one man. Put the power over the thousands of nations in the hand of one man. Just as those that have tried and been trying to put the life of the world into the hand of one man or one body or one group of friends. The Lord scattered them and have decided to punish them for what they had done, for they have done no good to humanity. It is all about themselves, those that engage in the selfishness and only think about themselves. They only seek and look for powers, power to control another man and power to control another life, power to decide who is a winner and who is a loser. The Lord is speaking to those of you asking for one leader in Africa, even though Africa is a continent that is comprising of a multitude of nations in the thousands of them. How many of those leaders are not a foreign agent? How many of those leaders are not corrupt? How many of the leaders in Africa is upright? Who among them is a leader? If God have destroyed the polarity, the unipolarity of the world, and have decided to call in for multipolarity, but you are calling for one unipolar system, in the world that the Lord have declared and had made in the origin to be a multipolar system. The God that have laid the foundations of nations and laid the boundaries where they are. How will you now organize them to be together, to be in agreement, and what happens to the multitude of people they represent? You have tried it in the unipolar world and you see the failure, the multitude of poverty, the multitude of injustice, the multitude of problems that are unresolved and unsolvable by them. It is great for people to come together to unite and agree, but you must develop a government. What kind of government was there before colonization came? Was there a democracy? And where did the democracy come from? The campaign for democratic form of government, where did it start? You may need to ask people like Socrates and ask for his fellow student Plato and Stoic. And where, at what school and at what location were they, and where did the conversation start? They plan to come to formulate a government that is ruled by the people instead of a government that is ruled by kings and emperors that demolish and destroy and waste the ability of man to be able to fend for himself, to be able to make decisions for themselves, to be independent in governing as God has made them, to be able to exercise their will. Who have hijacked the democracy that was discussed right in the beginning of civilization down to what we have now, when the lobbyists have found a way, even the corporations, to be able to undermine the will of the people. Do you still call that democracy? A democracy that works is the one that comes from the people, right from the grassroots, right from where they are, from where they live and sleep and get up and go. On every issues that affect their life, which they are answerable to God on the day of judgment. So when you begin to call for an Africa that is united and led by one man, and you need to think about, from where did that come from? It sounds good in the ears, but where